How you doing? Can you come in for a second, please? Is your supervisor here? Can you go get him for me, please?
Hello. You do? You have? No kidding. Yes, of course. Oh, they'll be totally discreet. We got one!
Now, let's analyze what's been working for us. Not a thing's been working for us.
We got this. We're the guard. And we protect our quarterback.
Radio practice?
Yeah.
How's that arm?
Good.
Yeah. What's that smell?
Wild yam.
That's nice.
This is SHUKC Sports Pass, and now your hosts, David Brox and Vernon Birmingham.
Good morning and welcome to SHUKC Sports Pass. I am David Brox, and I'm joined this morning by Mr. Vernon Birmingham.
Wu-Tang is for the children. For those of you who don't know, SHUKC is for the children.
Absolutely. So let's kick off. We got some mollywops over the weekend, but the most important victory I guess we have our first league champion crowned, the Atchison Red Men. First league title since 2006. And in that 2006 season, Vernon, they were also undefeated through league and had a nice little playoff run, finished that year 10-1. So congrats to the Redmen. I got to watch the game this morning, or at least some of the key plays from the game, and they were down 12-7 in the fourth quarter when Joaquin Gill, again, not once but twice on offense, he ran in from 32 yards out and then had a game-saving interception in the end zone. So Wyandotte was charging there. Talk a little bit about the Redmen.
Well, I just think it's probably good for them on their part to face a little bit of adversity heading into district play. They are in one of probably the toughest districts when you look at the Basers and the Pipers and Tonganoxie. So be able to actually have some adversity in a ball game, one that mattered, pretty much. I mean, for them to be able to get an outright league championship just tells that they're playing well and playing well at the right time. So
6-0 overall, 5-0 in the KCAL. Congrats to the Redmen. But Washington hit them as well in the KCAL, won 42-0 against Sumner Academy. Washington's kind of getting things going in these almost organized practices the last couple of weeks that they played.
Again, just like Atchison, I mean, their last loss was to Atchison. Is that correct? So, again, to be peaking going into districts is what's huge. I mean, Coach Salsgiver, we're going to get an opportunity to talk to him a little bit later, but I'm sure one of his big things is going to probably be playing well headed to district, cleaning up a lot of turnovers and fumbles they had over the course of the year. So, good victory heading into these last three games.
So I got to go out and check out Mill Valley on Friday night hosting Lansing, and it was more the same. I want to say, though, that it was a little different from last year. It wasn't just a complete and utter beatdown of like 40-yard plays every time. Lansing's defense a little bit improved, but Mill Valley still way too much for him.
Yeah.
Nothing really to add there.
Yeah, there's not much to add really on any more of these games, to be quite honest. But hey, it's your show.
Hey, well, I'll go ahead and point out Mr. Isaiah Young had a big game. Cook scored too. So Christian Jagan was big in the punt return game. So very good for Mill Valley. They head into district play now. This week we'll talk about the matchups a little bit later. But Sligo, again, 60-28, gave up a little bit to Harmon in this ball game.
Yeah, I'm seeing Harmon put up 28 points. I mean, you don't know if that's against the twos, things like that, but the fact Schlegel put up 60 is huge. Again, scoring points heading to district is a good thing. It's going to be a tough road for Harmon battling through the district play.
Baser Linwood, 48-7 over Bishop Ward. Bishop Ward scoring their touchdown on a fumble in the end zone by Baser. So that Bishop Ward team really struggling.
Yep.
We'll have to see.
I mean, what do you want me to say? I mean, yep.
Don't pile on. Okay, there we go. Bonner Springs, 48-0 over Tonganoxie. Marcel Holmes had a huge night. I think he ended up with 4 touchdowns. We'll have to see when the stats come out. But they did post their stats finally, and Connor Byers is well over 1,000 yards passing, over 500 yards receiving, got almost over 20 touchdowns total this year. So Bonner Springs off, just keep doing what they do.
Yep.
Piper rebounds big, 52-6. I think everybody scored on Piper's offense, and just a beatdown. Turner's kind of fell off here as the competition is ramped up.
Yep.
So Molly Wap made his way around our area. We picked all the games, obviously thought what not as competitive as it is, but now we're getting into district play. So talk a little bit about what you're looking forward to in these district games coming up.
Yeah, we picked the same around this board. I'm sure we'll see some different picks as we make our picks a little bit later, but it should be interesting. Of course, we talked about the Baser Piper Atchison regional. It's going to be tough. The Schlegel, Washington, Lansing, Leavenworth could play interesting as well. I think for some of the other ones, going to probably play out as expected, I think, overall. So it'll be good. I mean, it'll be interesting. Of course, these 3 games, everybody's 0-0 right now. So these 3 games are the ones that matters. If you're after 3 weeks of your season over, you're heading to wrestling and basketball, or you're going to continue to play some football. So we'll see.
Let me put you on the spot here. Who are the 2 teams that come out of that district with Piper, Baser, Tongi, and Atchison?
Piper and Atchison.
So let's go to the other one. They got Schlegel, Leavenworth, Washington, and Lansing.
That's a tough one. I have to sleep on that one.
Does a KCAL team get out?
I think potentially one of them.
So, but I mean, it is. We'll talk about it a little bit later as well. But KCAL comes in with the better records in that district. Obviously, doesn't mean a lot based on who they play throughout the year. So we'll have to see how that one goes. So looking forward to our conversation with Coach Bryan Salsgiver here in a second, and we'll talk to Sean Pahls a little bit later as well. So we'll be right back with more SHUKC Sports Pass. All right, David Brock's back, SHUKC Sports Pass. We're joining our coach this week, Coach Bryan Salsgiver. How you doing, Coach?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
So we've got a big 40-0 win over the Sumner Academy Sabres on Friday night. Talk a little bit about the win and what your team was able to do on Friday.
Yeah, coming off back-to-back shutouts defensively, which is nice. 42-0, actually.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. Just last couple of weeks in practice, just kind of just the same consistent message of we got to stop turning the ball over. That's really killed us in a lot of games this year. And just playing fast physical defense, that's how we are on offense. And it was nice just to come out and execute. And that's our style, is to run the football. And we try to throw the ball a bit. We're working on it because we know we're going to need it these last 3 weeks. And we got guys that can make plays. It's just when you're getting 10, 12 yards of carry, I don't want to – the times I put the ball in the air, I was like, oh, let's take a shot here, and then we throw interceptions. So, you kick yourself a little bit for doing that. But, we try to go with what works.
See, it's very difficult for me to work with David because he wants to get into these serious conversations right away, talk about the game. My initial question is going to be about this beard and how can I grow a beard similar to what you got working there, Coach?
Well,
what is the secret to the success?
Man, I don't know. It grows well, I guess. I've got Icelandic roots. My grandma's from Iceland, and I think they came from Germany. But all the kids at school, when I first started teaching there, they think I dye it red because it's it gets wicked, orange and red. And actually, I shaved it at the very first day of school, and this is where it's at right now. I had it going really, really awesome over the summertime, and I don't know why. I just decided to I think I cut my hair, and I realized that, wow, I look horrible. And so I trimmed the beard down, and I kind of regret doing that. But
is it some type of intimidation factor with the guys at all? Or
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
I'm a hunter, too, so it keeps my face warm when I'm out in the tree stand, and it's, 20 degrees out there.
Gotcha.
But also, a counselor and I at the school are actually having we're calling it a beard race. We both shaved first day of school, and so we're not letting it. You can only trim a little bit around the mustache just because that stuff gets into your mouth. It gets kind of nasty. So,
are you superstitious at all with the beard or anything?
I think, yeah, I'm always a little bit superstitious. Trying to make sure you got the same outfit each week or the same shirt or. I try not to get too crazy, but there's definitely things about it that, we do and things that I do on the sideline that coaches remind me of. And I started wearing my hat backwards on the headset because the headset was messing up, and so I turned my hat backwards, and we haven't lost since I did that. So I'm keep turning the hat around on the sidelines.
All right, so let's talk about that. 3 in a row now after that loss to Atchison, and don't want to touch on that game because of all the turnovers which followed in the Wyandotte game. But do you think it's cleaned up now heading into district play?
Well, we're getting there. We've put a lot of focus on it for sure in practice and being consistent and doing a lot more ball security and being an option team, you have to be ball secure, and that's the thing that's frustrating because I coach the quarterbacks and running backs, and that's where most of the fumbles have come from, that position. So that falls squarely on me, and so I've taken a lot more responsibility with those guys just to take care of the ball. I mean, if you look at all the games that we played, Turner, punched us in the mouth and had us backpedaling, but we kind of were there to rally, and then we turned the ball over. Atchison, we jump out, score the first play of the game. We kind of worked on that all week, and we were rolling, and then we start turning the ball over and just giving them 6 fumbles. Caleb had 3, Javion had 2 or 3, and if we just take a normal drive, we're probably not in that position that we're in, but that's why we play the game.
Is it players trying to do too much, or what do you think?
Jay runs so hard, and he gets that ball away from his body, and he thinks he's got all world speed, but he doesn't. But he's a tough runner, and I think he's just a lot of the runs that he had this year, it's he never goes down usually on first contact, and I think he's just fighting so hard a lot of times that that goes away. And Caleb was wearing a brace against Atchison, but that kid, I know you guys had him in here, and he's one of my favorite players, that I've coached in a long time, and but he's just got to take responsibility for some of those. He'll want to put the blame on a brace or things, but I try and encourage him not to make excuses for those things. But yeah, it's just poor ball security a lot of times. Like I said, a lot of that falls on me, and maybe not emphasizing it enough. We do for sure, but probably not enough.
Yeah, that was going to be the question I asked. Like, when do you get to the point where you're telling them, get what you can, then secure the ball and go down versus continue to fight? Because that's a tough kind of road to cross there.
Because we've had some. When I'm on the headset and even I'm screaming it, and you can just hear everybody from our sideline. It's like sometimes you just hold your breath now when we take off running and get into the field. It's like, 2 hands, secure the ball. We're just screaming. I'm just like, don't fumble it,
right.
So
because you want your guys to keep trying to fight for yards, but then again, you don't want them to get kind of when you need that extra yard or whatever.
Because I know it happened in the. There's a couple of times if you watch film, we watch film that our forward progress was stopped, and then waiting for the officials to blow the ball and somebody pulls one out late. Those kinds of things that are always a terrible nightmare for you after you've had a really good run and guys are continuing to fight, and it's just like, get down, let's live to see the next play.
So Atchison held off Wyandotte last night, and they won the league this year. What do you think it says about the league that you've had like 4 different teams now win league the last 4 years? In terms of the competitiveness of the league, KCAL.
It's I can only go off of since I've my tenure here and what it's been like, and I felt like as soon as we got in here, we were competitive in a lot of games. There was some my first year, Schlegel just kicked a dog piss out of us. The last game of the year, they had a lot of talent, but it's just I think we're finally getting maybe some more consistent coaches that are staying around and getting guys coached up. I know that Coach Lockett and their offense coordinator over there, talked to him a few times, and they're just doing positive things. And obviously, with Atchison, Coach Smith's been the longest tenured guy. 17 years. I was probably still just a young pup when he started coaching at Atchison as a head coach, but he does a great job. And sometimes it's just putting the right guys in place to make plays, and letting those guys be special. And they got a good one there up in Atchison.
So, we're into this year, of course, but we haven't had a chance to really talk much after last year. How gratifying was it for you as a coach being able to get that league championship?
It's always nice, there wasn't this feeling of celebration. It was kind of more just kind of exhaled because we did it last year with 5 coaches. We had kind of we lost 2 coaches early on in the season for various reasons. One of our coach's wife had gotten very ill and he couldn't commit the time, and we had just kind of lost another one for just decided he couldn't do it, couldn't make the time obligation. So we were working short-staffed and short-handed, and it was extremely gratifying, just a compliment to those seniors who I took over when they were, in their junior years to just put in the work. But it's one of those things that it's nice. It was good to do something because of kind of where the football program had been when I first got there as a teacher, and watching how much those kind of kids would fight amongst each others. And so, yeah, it was nice, but it's one of those things that I didn't go pop any champagne bottles or anything like that.
But when you speak about it from that sense, and I don't know if you consider it, but I will say, you've turned this program around. Probably, I don't know if it's to the, I'm sure you guys still want to get to districts and playoffs and those things, but you've turned this program around in the last couple of years from what we saw previous. So, I'm sure that has to be.
Yeah, it's no doubt it's a great feeling, but it's not just me. It's a thing to the kids that have been in the program and believed in what we're doing, and also the hiring of good coaches that have the same message I do and the same belief, and and getting the kids to buy in. But, you know, it's a large part just the kids and understanding that, you know, you guys are the ones that go out and play. Yeah, we coach. You
Get
know,
that buy-in from them as well.
Yeah, that's been huge. And it's, you know, it's amazing to think that I've already been here 3 years, and 3 years feels like 30 some days with some of these kids, man. But it is. I mean, it's cool. It's definitely satisfying. But, you know, with this group right here, you know, our goals at the beginning were to repeat, but also to do something that hasn't been done at Washington, which was to make it to the playoffs, and then anything can happen from there. So we're trending at the right time. We're having better practices, and, you know, these last 3 are huge, and we've got a huge matchup this week.
So you guys talked about that being a goal, and that was actually one great lead-in. You leading into your own questions like you got the script and everything. But how important is it for this team to get to the playoffs, for you personally, and then, you know, the players, the seniors that have been, you know, building this success the last few years?
I mean, my senior year, I made it to the playoffs as a football player, and, you know, like, that's what one of our new coaches, Coach Cav, who comes from Chicago area, and he reminds us kids all the time. He's like, I've had my senior year. This is your time now to step up and play. And because, you know, we have some kids that are just being knuckleheads sometimes, some kids that aren't playing right now that should be for various reasons. And, you know, to me, it's more about seeing what these kids can do and just adding something to the changing the culture. Because, you know, when I was first here, it was just a basketball school, and Coach King does a great job year in and year out with that. And there's no reason that we can't have both be really good. And getting some of those basketball guys out for football was huge. You know, I mean, Caleb's a varsity starter for basketball last year. Shakir Love and Marvin and those guys. I mean, I know it helps on the basketball court, and I know as a coach you really want to be selfish sometimes and not let those guys play. But even JT Bennett, who had a huge year, he played as a junior and had some success for us. But, you know, our goal is still that. You know, we got to take it one game at a time. In Lansing, Coach McCall was at Blue Valley North when I was over at Shine Mission South. So, you know, I know Coach McCall, he does a great job with those guys, and they've got weapons and they've got size. And again, it's, you know, they're 2-4 right now, but the opponents that they've played, they played Piper, they played Bonner, Mill Valley. I mean, those are some tough schools to compete with, and we're gonna have our hands full.
So, I mean, again, kind of goes into the next question a little bit. Schlegel and Washington are both going to go into the district with better records than your Lansing and your Leavenworth. Sometimes, unfortunately, the KCAL gets kind of a rep of being a weaker conference compared to some of the other ones around. So, you know, what is your kind of impression on the competition level in the KCAL?
I mean, we all have, you know, besides Atchison, we all have the same kind of kid that we're dealing with, the same clientele. The same issues, the same transportation issues, the same social economics, you know, and as I've always talked to other coaches, you know, outside of the district and things, day one for us, it seems like is day one. You know, when we played Blue Valley Southwest the last couple of years, you know, I guarantee there's a minimum 50, 60 kids, if not more, showing up to summer weights and conditioning, lifting, running. Then after that, they're going out, you know, putting in football stuff. You know, for us, it seems like when you're picking up 4 or 5 kids a day just to make sure we get to 15 or 20, and it's really hard to go out and put anything in, you know, because sometimes you got freshmen that are there that are eager to be there, but, you know, those guys probably aren't going to contribute right away at the varsity level. So, you know, those are the disadvantages. You know, I think when I first started teaching here, it was like 85, 90% of our kids ride the bus to school. You know, I mean, you drive past that lower lot and you probably see 20, 25 cars.
I noticed that a couple weeks ago and I actually said that. I was
so in the summertime, you know, when kids rely so much on the bus, getting to school, you know, they don't have a way up to there or don't want to walk or whatever it is. So those are the difficulties that we all share, you know. So I think that has you know, that's a disadvantage for our league for sure when it comes to those things. And, you know, I think we have advantage athleticism-wise in some spots. But again, it's that consistent discipline, consistent doing what you need plus the numbers.
So no secret, there's been a lot of distractions at Washington. Has this been your hardest year coaching in terms of everything, you know, the distractions and stuff going around at the school and everything?
Well, the stuff at the school hasn't been any distraction for us football-wise. You know, I think it's been more overblown by the media. And obviously, I don't ever watch the news a ton, but I remember, you know, we had a meeting and some girl said that we were all scared to come to school as teachers. And I was like, I don't know what this girl's talking about. You know, I'm definitely not fearful for my life coming to school. And, you know, it's definitely a scary event. I had my daughter, you know, at midfield at the Wyandotte game when those shots were fired right after the game. And, you know, it kind of makes it surreal and a little bit scary for you. But, you know, if you keep living in fear and you let fear dictate, you know, those kinds of things, you know, we just try and enjoy the 2 hours and 15, 2 hours and 30 minutes that we get for football each day. And, the biggest distraction for us is just the constant excuses that some of our kids have for not being at practice or whatever it is, and then grades, not getting grades up. And I still do not know how kids cannot pass high school, just curriculum period. It's just a lot of kids being lazy and a lot of kids just expecting multiple opportunities for things that, in our generation and your guys' generation, it was you had one shot at it, and if you failed it, you failed it, and you live with it. Now it seems like it's handed a lot more to at least in our school, handed to the kids a little bit to get multiple opportunities.
It's kind of that entitlement mindset, which I speak of a lot. Like, they think it's old to them to be able to do things over and over and over.
You just got kids missing practice to go get a haircut, or you got kids, saying they're staying after for tutoring for something, and then you go talk to that teacher and like, yeah, they're here for 5 minutes, and it's just like, I just want you guys to be committed to football. I just want you to, because realistically, school gets out at 2:20. We allow the kids to go to tutoring from 2:20 to 3 o'clock, and we start practice at 3:15. So there's no excuses for them not to be out there. And we go 3:15 to 5:30 because that late bus comes at 5:45, which the majority of our kids ride. So we got to get a lot done in a short amount of time, and we've done a lot better job of that this year. Like I said, I've got a couple new coaches that have been outstanding and able to delegate a lot more and give up less and focus more on what I need to do, which is nice.
So let's talk about some of your players. Javion Williams, has been a workhorse, to say the least. I remember a couple weeks ago he had like over 40, if not 40, carries in the game. He's just stood out, 120-plus carries and close to 900 yards and 6 touchdowns. Talk a little bit about Javion.
Yeah, Jay's been a kid. I remember just watching him kind of really mature. His sophomore year, came over from Harmon, and the day after our scrimmage, he skipped at practice. And it was him and another kid that ended up moving out of the state. But I remember Lloyd Stanfield coming up to me, and he's like, Coach Jay and such are on the bus right now. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. We just had practice, and I go look on that late bus, and there they are. I guess they kind of had skipped to go watch girls volleyball practice or something. And so just watching the maturity for this young man to kind of grow has been fun. His sophomore year, he had a nice, couple of games, had about 600 yards, 6 touchdowns, something like that. And just looking for him to take that next step. He's a powerful back. That's one thing I love about him is that we can give the ball him 40 times, and he's still strong at 40 as he was on the first carry. And
has that been his evolution, though, that he can stand up to taking that much of a load?
I think part of it is his mindset maturity-wise, because his junior year we didn't ask him to play a lot of defense. We actually had, quite a bit of seniors that stood up and played, and he didn't play a whole lot of defense his junior year. Sophomore year, he was a starter inside backer for us as well as carrying the football. And this year he's playing both ways, and so this summer he was one of our most consistent seniors. Still probably wasn't there as much as he needed to be, and but he's been a guy that I trust completely. And besides the fumbling issues, the kid runs hard. You turn on tape and he's going to give you everything he has. And I've done a lot for Jay, and I think I've earned his trust. And I know he has my trust when it comes to those things. And he's just. He thinks he's fast, and I know he's going to be listening to this and understand that for him to play at the next level where he wants to play, he's got to do more. Mm-hmm. And he's got great hands. He's probably our best, natural hands pass catcher, and we try to get to him the ball as much as we can. It's kind of like Marvin was last year for us. I think Marvin at fullback was our leading receiver just because he was the one we trusted with the ball the most, and Jay's definitely that guy for us this year.
So if you need a co-signer, if he doesn't believe you when you tell him he's not fast, I'll join you.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I actually said, David.
I think he knows it. He knows in his heart. There's a couple of times that he gets to the next level, and I think I'm beating him down the sideline running for him. But when he puts his mind to it, he has a great work ethic. It's just Caleb hates this word, and Jay's going to hate it too. Is that they just got to be consistent, and when you've been in this area and that's all you've known and you don't know what it's like outside of it, it's easy to say that I want to be a Division I football player. But I've seen quite a few of those. I know what the work ethic is like. It's not just on the field.
Right.
That on the field is usually the easy part for those guys. It's the commitment to the weight room. It's the commitment to the running. It's making sure my academics are there. And they're good football players, but they just got to be more consistent and put in the time and the work. And I tell them that a lot. And again, no knock on both of them, but they just need to go to that next level.
Right.
So let's talk about your line. We don't talk about that enough. You got a running back with 895 yards or whatever. Talk about your line up front. I know V-Hill is at center. Talk about some of the other linemen that stepped up for you this year.
Well, it was kind of a ragtag crew at different times because we've had, not the same offensive line every week. Somebody got hurt. Somebody didn't show up to practice 2 days. If you don't show up 2 days of practice, you don't play, regardless if you were sick or you had this or that. It's just you can't miss 2 practices and expect to play, at least for us. Grades issues. One of our best all-around football players has only played a game and a half this year and hasn't been able to take care of what he needs to take care of to get in there. So, our most consistent guy that we've had has been our tackles, Jamar Grant, who was a transfer from one of the Park Hill schools, and real pleasant surprise. He came in. I remember when he came in last year, just a phenomenal kid and had great form in the weight room. And talk about getting excited because a couple times you get some transfers like, oh, yeah, I played this and did this. And then you look at him, you're like, shut up, man. There's no way in hell you were just doing any of that. So, but Jamar's been great. He's been a force at defensive end for us and a great left tackle. And then left guard for us has kind of been a hodgepodge in there. Darian Stafford, who played some defense for us last year but not a lot of offense, has stepped up into that role. He was sick a couple times this week, so actually Isaiah V-Hill has played left guard for us. Okay. And Lorenzo Lopez, who has played center since V-Hill got hurt before the Atchison game, has done a real nice job, senior for us. So we're very senior heavy on the center and right side. Alex Leon, who's just an undersized kid at right guard, and when we run the same play over and over again, you think he's going to get tired, but he kind of gets excited. We have this G play that we run, and used to always run it to Steve's side. I know when you guys last year probably watching it, was just run left, and with Steve not in there, we're running towards Alex's side a lot and have a lot of success there. And then another senior right tackle, Daniel Barbosa, who never played defense at all, and now he's playing some nose with Steven out. So those guys are just stepping up and being consistent, and that's probably been our most consistent group. So
yeah, I watched the game against Summer. They ate that right side up just like Atchison did, so I could tell you watched a little bit of film on that one there.
So, which means, of course, teams will be watching some film with you guys the next few weeks. How important is it for you guys going into district, having that second, third, kind of fourth option stepping up, knowing the workload that Jay's been carrying?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Keywan Love and Trey Hards have been guys that, we trust throwing the football to. And, Caleb's been a guy who, from his sophomore year where he's developed he's developed nicely, but he's still, still working. He's a work in progress, and he probably, fortunately for him, is never going to get there as a quarterback. But he's a tremendous athlete, a guy that I trust 100% of the time. He'll make some wrong reads in our running game because we're inside of your team, and he knows it. It's one of those kids that just drives you crazy because all the potential is there, and then sometimes he'll just have those mental lapses, or he'll just kind of take a play off. And his favorite word is consistent, which is actually his least favorite word, but he needs to be there more for us in these next 3 games, and he knows it, and I remind him of it all the time. So yeah, we got to develop the passing game a little bit. We spend a lot more time with it in practice. We have some plays in there, some big playability that we just. Again, that's when you're getting 15 yards of carry, you don't want to go away from that.
So you got Lansing coming up, first game of districts. I mean, you got a chance to look at them yet this year or on film? Or
Definitely, and they're, I know early on I think the McClellan, the senior kid, got hurt. His younger brother, number 16, he's a stud, playing some D-line, playing some linebacker, catching the ball. Obviously, I spent some time talking to Christian at the event that we did, him and his dad, and kid's an electric football player, got a rocket arm, and kind of leads that team. And they're consistent. Like I said, they've played some tough teams, and besides a break here or there, or turnover here or there, or just a couple of miscues, I mean, it just changes the game. So they're going to be they're a tough team. Coach McCall does a really good job. He always did a good job when he was at Blue Valley North. I know Coach Milne was with him, who's now at Turner, and they played a tough game watching a lot of that Turner and Lansing game tape this weekend. Because Turner's similar to what we do offensively. Of course, a little bit different way they go about it. But it was a tough game, tough-nosed game. And that's what I said. We're never going to just come out and blow the gates off. We got to play good defense, and we got to control the clock. And we'll have a few tricks up our sleeves this week, and we always do. We just luckily haven't had to use those tricks too many times the last few weeks.
So talk a little bit about the event you kind of mentioned briefly with the ESPN crew and the thing the students got a chance to participate in.
Yeah, that was really cool. Our AD forwarded me this email I thought was a joke, but John Gruden, I guess, through his the FFCA, the Fire Football Coaches Association thing, since he stopped coaching, does an event at each Monday night location that he goes to. So when the Chiefs were playing the Patriots, we were one of 4 teams selected to go there. And I don't know how the selection process worked. They didn't really tell us like who nominated us or who they talked to, and they just said that they had talked to some local medias about some things. And
Oh, that was me.
yeah, I'm grateful that you did, because
No,
it
it
was there was Olathe North, which Olathe North's been dominant for years. I was thinking, man, those guys don't need any free equipment. Bonner Springs was another team nominated, Leavenworth and us. And so we got a check for $1,000 from him, which is $300 more than we fundraised last year, which was incredible, and some blocking equipment. Chance to just talk and meet with John Gruden, who was real down to earth, go on the ESPN bus and kind of see where they do that stuff. And
Was it just coaches, or did some players get
oh, it was
to
definitely we took 6 coaches and 6 players.
Yeah, I saw some of the pictures of guys taking pictures in the bus.
Yeah, it was cool. And then we got a GoPro camera, which we busted out this week at practice, those things are cool.
Yeah.
GoPro, what is that?
It's one of those adventure cameras, that you see people skiing or skydiving with.
Oh, okay.
So it clips right onto the helmet, and because they gave us a ton of accessories with it. So I clipped it onto various people's helmets so we could kind of watch what was going on, and it's pretty cool to see,
How'd you miss all of this, man? You follow Coach on Twitter.
I know, man.
Jeez.
I missed that.
Yeah,
Wash House Chief 15. Follow me.
Yeah. Good plug there, Coach. Hey, we want to wish you luck through districts. We'll definitely be watching it. We appreciate all the time you put out for your kids and getting them out there on Twitter and doing different things too. So
appreciate you guys, and thanks so much for all you do. And hopefully things will bounce our way and get a chance to do something that hasn't been done at Washington in a long time.
Absolutely. Good luck, Coach.
All right, thank you guys.
All right, this is David Brox with Vernon Birmingham. We'll be right back. All right, David Brock's back. SHUKC Sports Pass, joined by Mr. Sean Pahls of Piper. I got to put the talented Sean Pahls.
Here we go with that again. But you
I didn't want to leave it out because
you fit the bill, so I won't mess with them.
So 43 tackles so far this year, 10 tackles for loss. Now I get confused on the tackles for loss thing. So if you get a sack, does that count for a tackle for loss?
No, it's just like a running play that we get.
Running back that you
you gotta
tackle
be
behind the
running?
line.
A yard or two behind
So
the
9
line.
sacks. So 19 times you tackled somebody behind the line of scrimmage.
Yes.
Very nice. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Excited to be with you guys. You guys do a lot for the league, so especially bringing some media that we haven't had the opportunity to get. And you guys put a lot of time into it, so I'm happy to be here with you guys.
Absolutely. So you hit a little bit of a growth spurt your senior year, looked like, from when I saw you last year. Talk a little bit about your summer, your vitals and stuff like that, or where you at in terms of bench and vertical and stuff like that.
So like this off season, wrapped up our last game with Pahls. It was a pretty heartbreaking loss for us. 27-20. And that ending with a loss like that, it really puts a lot of fire into you for next year. And you kind of realize, I've been starting since my sophomore year, which was, a really great opportunity given to me by the coaches. But, it's just like one of those things you just realize, I don't have much time left to do what I want to do, and it's just, so I really set out, I think 3 days after our last game, all of our guys were back in the weight room. We were down doing winter weights 3 days a week, and then, several of our guys were going to the YMCA with me, and we were, putting in some extra work, which was it was a lot of fun. We learned a lot about each other. We really, built a lot of camaraderie between the team and stuff like that. But so that summer or that winter, we put on a lot of work. I drank a gallon of milk a day for it was like 45 days, and put on a gallon of whole milk a day.
A gallon of milk a day.
I heard you can't. That's not possible. And you throughout the day.
Throughout the day, yeah. You probably heard that
but still, a gallon of milk's running close to $5 these days. That means you got a little money in your pocket, man.
Match it with Aldi.
Okay.
There you go.
Or did you do did you do like half the milk? You fill it up with water and try to make it. Try to make it last.
It wasn't too bad. You
make it skim.
Yeah.
Nah, I drink about a cup every 2 hours. you drink a gallon of milk, it's like 2,500 calories, and I was eating on top of that. So I put on about 35 pounds.
Yeah, so we have you listed at 6'3", about 196.
I was at 160 a year ago. So, and I think it's really it's really paid off. A couple of the guys on the team who came and asked me, how to do all this.
Did they come ask you who's your supplier?
Who's my supplier?
You said Aldi's.
Aldi.
Where'd you get the idea from?
I actually saw it on a guy at my gym. He brought it up, as a way to gain, it's a cheaper way than like buying like a weight gainer.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you buy a weight gainer, they're pretty expensive. Those powders and stuff like that. So,
come on, Bryan. We can show them a little bit on how to pack on a couple of pounds.
It's called
young man's metabolism. So.
No, it's called getting married and start having kids.
But yeah, a guy brought it up in my gym, and I looked up online, and there's definitely a little bit of risk to it. Just as far as putting on too much weight at one time. But I was in the gym when I was doing it for the 45 days. I was in the gym 6 days a week, and squatting 3 times a week. And it really, I think that helped, just keep it from going all to fat. But a little bit of fat's not bad for football, especially when you're at weight like what I was.
So academics is always important. We love the student athletes here at SHUKC, and I got a sneak peek at your ACT score. You okay with sharing? What did you get?
Yeah, I got a 32 on it.
Nice little golf clap for the 32. Our plan worked out good, so when I took that test for you.
Yeah, and I paid you, so.
Absolutely. So talk a little bit about your academics. What you're interested in terms of studying in college and stuff like that too. So a little bit more than just an athlete.
Yeah, college. Even for those of us that go to college, and play sports, how many of us are going to go to the NFL? So you got to realize that there comes a point in time where sports are not going to carry you as far. And obviously I love high school sports, and I'm really interested in playing college sports too. But I'm realistic about my chances of playing the NFL, which are slim to none. So it's really, I think that with the support that the football team provides, as far as keeping you on top of it, our grades and all that stuff, the structure and the discipline. I think that's helped instill a good study habits in me. When it comes to college, I'm interested in engineering and economics right now. Mm-hmm. I kind of like money, but I like money and business, and
don't we all?
Yeah. So I think that'd be really interesting for me to study, or entrepreneurship perhaps, but that's not as applicable of a degree either. So.
Don't hate on the knowledge of entrepreneurship.
Yeah,
allows you to be a great overall person.
Yeah.
But that score and then what you're able to do on the field has opened up another door from you from a college standpoint. Princeton's having a look at you now with everything you got going on there. Talk a little bit about that opportunity.
I've received a couple calls in the last couple weeks. 2 or 3 in the last 2 weeks. Talking about the opportunities that are available at Princeton, which are obviously extraordinary. I'm not putting all my eggs in one basket with that, but the opportunity to do something like that would be incredible. It's something I couldn't pass up. To play football at a school like that, be able to represent and get a world-class education. That'd be crazy. I'm really excited about it, but
whatever you do not mention my name to anybody out there, because I did turn them down. And they might hold that against you. So it's just be cautious. Do not mention Vernon, Birmingham, because they might hate on you a little bit. But let's talk about football a little bit. Your Pirates now back to 5-1 after a good rebound, mollywhopping of Turner. Talk a little bit about you guys' effort this past Friday night.
This last Friday, the week building up to it, we were all anxious to get back on the field. Winning creates a really good culture. As far as getting guys excited to come out every year. But when you lose a game, it's just it gets you just that much more excited to get that taste out of your mouth. I think this week for practice we were pretty focused. We came out on the field Friday. We were really, I know everybody just sat in the locker room. It's homecoming night, so you had an extra 15-20 minutes in the locker room, and we were just really anxious to get out there. So, I think Turner fought really, really hard. In all respect to them, I think they're doing some really good things. They had a good record coming in too. And especially with their district, I think they'll do well there. And those guys didn't give up, coming all the way through. But I think we were well prepared by our coaches and everything for this week. And I think it's going to give us some momentum back going into districts. So.
So what was the message from coaches coming off the loss against Bonner? What were they telling you throughout the week? Just did they kind of try and take that out of your head, or did they kind of use it as motivation for you guys?
I'm not sure that they really brought it to the forefront. As far as they weren't saying let's forget about it, but we need to learn from it too. I think there's a lot that we could learn from that film because we were really we were tested and ultimately we got beat by Bonner. And I think that almost goes as far as having a blowout win isn't. That doesn't do a whole lot for you as far as learning. So I think that it was really, it's not easy to say a loss is a positive thing, but I think it's a really great learning experience for us. So, this week, we emphasized improvement because we obviously needed to improve. Every team needs to improve every week. If you want, we all have goals, and I think we really just, we got a good culture going right now, and I think that coaches are going to keep us prepared for going to districts. But
So district kicks off Friday against Baser Linwood. Again, you played Bonner last week. Which one of those two do you consider the big rival for Piper?
Baser or Bonner? We're playing Baser this week, so I have to say Baser.
Yeah.
I really think that, and we've had some good games with Bonner, the last 2 to 3 years. Last year was a one-sided win by Bonner. But 2 years ago, the double overtime game and the overtime game this year, it's created kind of a, something of a rivalry that we didn't really have. I think Baser's always been kind of our big rival, and they're doing some really good things out there at Baser. You got a new coach coming here with a new offense, and obviously that's paid off really well for them. They've played some pretty impressive games. Just looking through the tape this weekend, but.
So you are a film guy. You sit and watch your opponents to try and figure out what kind of tendencies, or do you just rely on the coaches to let you know what you need to do week to week?
The coaches, they have they have kind of a system set up. We have we call it huddle homework every week. We come through and we go through, the other team's plays and write down, 10 things that are relevant to the position we play. I think that really, and they hold us accountable for that. So I think that really, it gets us after it because some coaches maybe just put the film out there for you to look at. But at D-line, you can kind of look and scout the opposite tackle from you and stuff like that. But as far as reads, there's not as much to go off of. I think that we have guys like Colton Beebe and Jalen Johnson, our middle linebackers, that really go through that film, to find it. But then the coaches, we have one of our assistant coaches, Coach Cottrell. He's huge with the film. Every week he goes through meticulously looking through, just trying to find tendencies, and plays. And then we run that. Our scout team runs the opposite teams, our opposing teams plays and practice that week. So it gives us a look before we get on the field. Mm-hmm. When we see a guy pull, and we know that they always go to one side when they pull, and then we see that at game time it just clicks in your head, and you know where the ball is going almost immediately. And it's just we just Tuesday and Wednesdays are our hard practices, as far as really learning, not conditioning, our conditioning practices are on Mondays. We do the sprints and stuff, but Tuesdays and Wednesdays are really our learning practices. So, when we see those guys coming out on the field, and then we see the same thing on Friday, it's just, it's night and day for us.
So being a senior, you've been part of a couple of playoff runs now. What are you telling your teammates, some of those younger guys who, I guess the importance of these next 3 games?
Obviously these are, from our standpoint right now, these are the 3 most important games in the year. We have to be really, really focused. The first 6 games, we don't want to say they're preseason games, but essentially, everybody's 0-0 right now.
Right.
So these 3 games, we got to play our best 3 games of the season because we have some really, really talented, guys in our districts since we switched up the districts with Baser and Tongi. I think Tongi, I think the KVL is pretty. I don't know, just looking through the results every week. I think that Tongi's
weak.
I don't want to say that. I just think there's a lot of there's a lot
Hopefully
of
hopefully you're getting these results each week on SHUKC.com.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think there's a lot of parity in the league. So I don't want to I'm not Tongi at all, but
I'll do it for you. It's okay.
It's fine. I think there's a lot there for them. So
let's talk about the defense, specifically the defensive line, because I've seen you guys even last week against Bonner. I was watching the film last night, or not this morning, of the Turner game. You guys are at the defensive end. You're almost standing up, playing almost like linebacker position. Talk a little bit about what you guys are doing on the front. Kind of unique, I guess, in the way you're doing it.
Sure, we got something that resembles kind of like a 4-man rotation right now with our nose guard switching between Christian Spencer and Blaine Headland, and both those guys weigh about, it's probably we're looking at probably 6 foot, 5'10" and 6 foot.
Christian's 206. I looked him up because I always talk about how small he is on the nose guard.
Yeah, and we have so much speed on the line. He's usually down, but we do have some plays that we all go up on. And, we got 3 guys that are, potentially, some people would call us undersized. For the line, but I think the speed is really an advantage playing in a 3-4. Because we have to contain the edges on a 3-4 because we have a lot of help through the middle with our linebackers. But the edges, that's kind of our job. So when we go out of a standing position, it really allows us to, to get that first step outside. We can show outside, push everything back through the middle, and obviously Colton Beebe is a standout player, and I really think that he brings a lot of attention, as far as the line goes. And so when we're on the line, we'll get one-on-ones a lot, which I think that we're prepared for.
So much for that next question, because you did just answer it.
Really?
Yeah, next question was, everyone knows about linebacker group led by BB. Talk about the senior, what he means to the defense, but you just said because of so much attention on him, it creates a lot of one-on-one opportunities. But talk about some of those other linebackers.
We got Jalen Johnson. He's one of the fastest guys on our team. He's smaller. We have, and we have him through there. He can get, just playing from a middle linebacker position, he can get outside and, attack on the edges too. And I think that's a huge benefit to us. Ty Baines, our quarterback too, he's playing both ways. He's on my side of the line as well. I think that we have some really good chemistry going between us. We kind of have an idea of what the other one's going to do on a given play when we see a set. And then Alex Bach, he'll be a 3-year starter when it's all said and done. A lot of experience, on the linebackers and especially in the front 7 in general. I think that, it's almost like having 2 senior years. It's awesome.
They say a lot of D linemen and linemen have to have a mean streak to them. You don't seem too mean. Or how are you on the field? Do you turn into a whole different beast, a different animal?
That entire day, that Friday going into and practice or in class and stuff like that, I'm way quieter than usual. I'm just thinking about the game tonight. But yeah, I think that just the amount of contact that you go through. On a play-to-play basis, you gotta have an attitude about that. So, I don't know. It's just, I think that our entire defense just has a mentality of attack, and just to be ruthless, with the opposition and leave no doubt,
So you're a state qualifier in track. You ran the 400 and the 800.
The 400, just the 400 alone, really.
Talk a little bit about that last year. You got to go to state. And, what are your goals for this year in terms of in that regard?
Actually, my freshman year, I came out, I finished up our football season. I tried to tell Coach Brindle I was going to go work. I was going to find a job or something like that. And, at first he kind of nodded and just kind of shrugged it off. And then he went and talked to my parents. And he told my parents, he was like, he told me, he's like, I really think that track would be a huge benefit for Sean. And I wasn't, especially fast in middle school either. I started to see where this was going. I was like, I'm going to hate track, But he talked about the benefits of the speed you get from it, the agility, and just you come into we have a pretty extensive summer weights program, and track leads right up to the end of that. So you come into summer weights in good shape and stuff like that. But he really, if it weren't for Coach Brindle calling my parents, I wouldn't even be in track anymore.
He snitched on you?
Yeah, he did.
Went straight to the source.
Yeah, he didn't bother with me. But this year, as far as goals, I finished 5th last year in the state, and I think we had several of those guys. The top 4, I think 3 of them were seniors. So there's always, but every year there's always a standout freshman or something like that slides in the finals and stuff like that. So I just to improve from last year and just see where it goes. I'm not going to have the whole football motivation unless I'm exploring a college opportunity in football. So it's just going to be more about track this year rather than getting in shape for football too. But, I'm really excited, for the upcoming year. State track. I mean, that's a blast. I don't know have you ever been out there?
I have not gone. I heard about the process they do out there. Everybody comes to one location.
Yeah,
it's really
I
huge.
think that's the only one in the country that does it like that. And
heard it's very well run there too. And
oh my gosh, it's clinical. Really.
Yeah.
But there's 60. I guess you just have the 64 teams from 4A. Just think about that. 1 through 4A, I think 128, and 1A. I mean, it's a massive event. 20 to 30,000 people there every year. So that's a blast. That's really what we look forward to and hope to get to throughout the year, and I think that with some of the experiences I've had the last year, it makes going to practice every day really easy. So,
Who's the homecoming king?
Jordan Guess.
Jordan Guess.
Yeah, that was about to lead into some of the fun questions. And, my first fun question, because you mentioned homecoming, what was homecoming night like for Sean Pahls? Like, what does a homecoming evening consist of?
Yeah, homecoming evening. Okay, so the other, last night we started off taking some pictures. A bunch of the football guys were all in the same group. We went to Garazzo's restaurant. A little expensive, but it was pretty good. Chicken spadini. You ever had that?
I've heard the commercial.
Oh, my gosh, it's delicious.
Really?
Went to the dance.
It's a little expensive for the guy dropping $5 a day on milk.
Oh, yeah. I don't have a whole lot of cash. I worked 2 jobs during the summer, so because my mom was like, "You're not drinking a gallon of milk every day." I was like, "Fine, I'll just pay for it." But and then go to the dance. I'm sure you can tell I got some moves. No, I'm just kidding.
Ah, there
I
you
have
go.
no moves at all. But I try.
Yeah.
We're just having a good time out there at home. And then there's definitely some opportunities to go out and do all the parties and stuff like that. But we're in the middle of a football season right now, and I think there's bigger things out there for us and the football guys than to go out and put ourselves at risk for that. So I went home last night and played some FIFA. But
Who was your date?
Megan Claiborne.
Claiborne. Is your girlfriend?
No.
Okay, so the next question is okay, Vernon.
What's the next? Ooh.
Go ahead. So
Okay. So if you could go out for a date, money's no object, because who are you taking out? It can't be your mom or your grandmother or sister or any woman out there.
Any woman out there?
Yeah. Any.
Oh, shoot. Assuming we haven't met.
No, you can be.
But she's willing to go on a date with me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shoot, I've had a crush on Selena Gomez for as long as I can remember.
Selena
You guys seen
Gomez.
Selena Gomez.
I think I know who that is.
She's a pretty young
He
lady.
doesn't know most people.
If she happens to
out
be
there.
listening to the show right now,
Make sure you
money is
tweet.
no object. I'll still take you.
Have you watched any of the SHUKC podcasts?
Yeah, I've listened to them.
You ever watched? Because I noticed you're going with the David Brock's look, where you're wearing a hoodie and no string, so you lost your string.
I did lose the string. They come out one side. That's
See?
the problem.
I'm telling you, man,
You wash them, and they come
I'm a
out.
trendsetter. What are you talking about?
Oh man,
I wish I could give you. I wish I would have known that ahead of time. I would have gave you props for that.
There you go.
that's the lamest thing ever. What other fun question?
Vernon's
I don't
always
think it's
hating.
bad at all.
Yeah.
Strings are optional.
You got to have air.
I guess, is that what
But
it
talk
is?
about what other colleges are you looking at? Obviously the Princeton thing is a big deal, but where else you looking?
K-State, obviously they have some really good scholarship opportunities. I think we got 4 kids in college right now with my family. By the time that everybody's in college, I got a younger stepsister and brother, both 1 year younger than me. So money is going to be a really big factor for us because we're not going to have a whole lot of it around when we're in college. So there's some good scholarship opportunities there. The University of Chicago has reached out to me about playing football, and that's a Division III school, so they don't have as much push with admissions, and it's really hard to get into. It's 7% acceptance rate. Central Missouri, I went out to to their it was a prospect day. They had a prospect day, and you get to meet all the players and stuff. And that's a Division II program, but you just talk to the guys. It's like a D1 program there. It's you got 10,000 people coming out to every game.
I think Dumler went there, didn't he? No.
He went to Missouri Western.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So your dad played at Piper, or
My
stepdad?
My stepdad, yeah.
I played basketball with him for a few months at our gym. He's a good guy.
Said,
Yeah.
a while ago. But
So he's like the all-time leading tackle leader at Piper or something like that. He holds a record or something up there.
199 1 year or something like that. He said their team wasn't great though, so they were always on defense.
Yeah. How much did he work with you over the summer? I mean, you take anything from him or?
Yeah, he's always, he's an athletic guy. He's always willing to help me. He'll come out there and throw passes just to run around. He's showed me a couple things as far as just moves that, he used to use. Obviously, he's been out of the game for a couple of years, so he's not as sharp. And, but I don't know. I don't ever go one-on-one with him, on some lineman drills because I'd lose that.
Yeah.
He's a big guy.
So we'll go ahead and take a break. We'll come back. You're going to hang around for our picks section. We'll make you get some football analysis from you. We'll be right back with more SHUKC Sports Pass. All right, David Brock's back. SHUKC Sports Pass, our pick segment. And last week, everything kind of went as planned. I mean, Atchison-Wyandotte was the closest game by 3, and then Mollywop went around the entire area and showed up at every game.
Did you pick Atchison?
I did.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I did.
Okay.
Did I not?
I don't know.
We'll have to double check. I'm pretty sure we all picked the same thing.
We did pick the same, so.
Either way, we all tied. We're going to have Sean Pahls pick for our guest this week. And we'll start with your game. And we're going to make you pick Piper.
Okay.
But we'll start out. This is a good game coming up because Baser's 4 or 5-1 coming into this game. Both teams set at the same record.
Yeah.
So
Are you gonna be there?
that I have not decided where we're going to be at, Vernon. Have you given any thought? Is it at Baser?
I
Baser.
enjoy being home Friday, so I don't have any. I'm game for whatever.
We'll see. We'll pull out Vernon. We got a week off because of the weather at Mill Valley. Mill Valley's press box, grade A. I look forward to coming back there at some point. So I got to go up there and take a look. But Piper at Baser, Vernon. Who do you have?
Piper.
I will pick Piper as well, and I'm sure Sean will agree with us there. He doesn't have much of a choice. So this is an interesting game coming up here, next one, because this is one of the first district games where we have the KCAL, the best team in the KCAL playing against the bottom of the KVL. So a very important game for perception-wise for the KCAL. Atchison at Tonganoxie.
All of that talk just for me to say Atchison.
I'm trying to set the game up here.
I want to take the top of the KCAL against the KVL on this one.
I will take Atchison.
You can't argue with undefeated, so I'll go with Atchison.
There you go. And another game that's, last year, big win for Lansing in this district. Washington at Lansing. I will go first, and I'm going to take the Wildcats. This will be the last year I do this, though, if this doesn't come through for me.
I'm taking Lansing.
I think I'll go with Lansing as well.
All right, Coach Salsgiver, come through for me. Leavenworth at Slagle. I do not know much about Leavenworth. I know they're 2-3 coming into this game. I'm going to take Leavenworth, though.
I think I'm going to go with Leavenworth. Used to be 6A, didn't they?
They used to be. They're 5A now.
I'll go with Leavenworth. But I don't know much about both teams.
Come on, man. You went to Schlegel. You go pick against them?
You did it a couple of weeks ago.
I'm doing it again today. Leavenworth.
Wyandotte travels to Shawnee Mission North. Vernon's studying this one. You go first.
I don't know. I think I'm going to go with Shawnee Mission North, to be honest. I hear about the strength of the Shawnee Mission schools. But
I do have to go with the strength, even of the bottom Sunflower. So I'm riding with the Indians.
I'm going to pick Wyandotte. North is 0-6 coming into this game. So they've been getting beat probably against some better teams, competition than Wyandotte, but we'll got to hope. I'm being a homer here this week.
You are.
I'll take Wyandotte. Go get that W. Harmon at Shawnee Mission East. So I think we'll see if Sean picks. See now if he's watching if you watch the show, if you listen to the show, we're gonna see Harmon at Shawnee Mission East.
I'm not sure what you meant by that, to be honest. But I'm going to go with Shawnee Mission East.
Oh, okay. Well, we know who we're gonna pick.
Yeah.
Shawnee Mission East.
I mean, they did kind of play for the state championship last year in 6A.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah. He could have guessed wrong.
And Harmon.
I could have said Shawnee Mission Harmon.
Harmon played for the state championship in basketball a few years ago.
St. James Academy travels to Mill Valley.
This is where it gets interesting. It goes back to that Mill Valley schedule that we talked about. Mill Valley.
I got my first live look at Mill Valley, and they got the running back, Isaiah Young, ran well. Jagan got going. Logan Cook, the cast that he had on his arm a few weeks ago is now gone. He had like a smaller brace, so they were able to throw the ball a little bit more. That line was impressive, so I'll go with Mill Valley as well.
I hear Mill Valley's got some players. Coach is at the top of the league in rushing yards, isn't he?
I don't know if they haven't been rushing the ball that as strong as they were, but they had a good game against Lansing, beat them up pretty good.
Sure.
Bonner Springs, and you did pick Mill Valley?
Yes, Mill Valley.
Okay, Bonner Springs at Turner.
Bonner.
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 Bishop Ward at Santa Fe Trail. Santa Fe Trail is not that good.
I know.
I would take Santa Fe Trail. Come on, throw it up 3 times. 3 times in 1 year.
Going with you the 3rd time. Don't let me down, Ward. Need you guys to come through one time for me. If you don't come through this time, I will never pick you again.
Ever?
Ever.
This year or ever?
Ever, even if you're playing the School of the Blind.
I'm going to go with Ward. I think they've had some pretty competitive games this year. So,
Ward?
yeah. I think they're going to be excited.
They got mollywopped the last 2. Okay. I might catch up with Vernon now. Here we go. Lewisburg at Sumner Academy, who is in the district from hell. They get to play Miege at the end of the final game of the season.
And that's going to be the mollywop of wops.
Because I know Harmon played some 6A schools last year, but I'm wondering if
Lewisburg.
I will take Lewisburg.
I got to look at Lewisburg, too, at the beginning of the year, so I'm going to go with Lewisburg.
I mean, that's just mean. It seems unfair. But Sumner.
Oh, you didn't use the F word.
Unfair?
Fair.
I said unfair. It starts with a U.
It's still the F word.
I've got, what is unfair? What's the first letter?
Did you say unfair or did you say this is not fair?
I said it seems unfair. I don't even know. Is that a word?
Unfair.
We'll go back to
I'm going to refer to my 32 ACT. Is that a word?
Which one?
Unfair.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's a word, but I don't think that's what you said. But we'll find out once this hits the.
Go back to the clip then.
Yeah.
I support you. I heard unfair.
You heard unfair?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Man, you always trying to put me on blast. And some people talked about this turning into a Jerry Springer show. We might go Jerry Springer here. If
You don't want those. You
that.
don't want
I
those
laughed.
problems. POP, hold it down.
So we got our picks in this week. Hey, Sean, we appreciate you coming on. We wish you luck to these next 3 weeks. Get back in the playoffs and see if you guys can make a deep run in the playoffs.
I'm excited.
Keep doing work in the classroom as well. Absolutely.
Awesome.
All right, this is David Brox.
Wu-Tang is for the children.
Vernon Birmingham. We'll see you next week.